Good evening and welcome to our special report on Vice President Kamala Harris's foreign policy vision as she campaigns for the presidency. Tonight, we'll explore how a Harris administration might shape America's role on the global stage, with a particular focus on Africa.
As Vice President, Kamala Harris has rapidly gained foreign policy experience, meeting over 150 world leaders and visiting more than 20 countries. Now, as the Democratic presidential nominee, she's poised to potentially lead American foreign policy into a new era.
Harris's approach seems to align closely with President Biden's internationalist stance, but with her own progressive twist. She's a strong believer in America's global commitments and the importance of international institutions.
While Harris has focused heavily on Asia and Europe during her vice presidency, experts believe she's likely to pay increased attention to Africa if elected president.
Given Harris's emphasis on often neglected relationships, as we've seen with her focus on Southeast Asia, it's reasonable to expect she might prioritize strengthening ties with African nations. This could involve increased diplomatic engagement, economic partnerships, and support for democratic institutions.
Indeed, the potential for a Harris administration to reshape U.S. relations with African countries is significant. A Harris administration might focus on several key areas in Africa economic development. Expanding on initiatives like the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, Harris could push for similar economic partnerships with African nations. Security cooperation. With her experience in supporting Ukraine, Harris might increase U.S. support for African countries facing security challenges. Climate change. Given her progressive leanings, Harris could prioritize climate change initiatives in Africa, a continent particularly vulnerable to its effects. Democracy and human rights. Harris's commitment to international norms suggests she might take a firmer stance on supporting democratic processes and human rights across the continent.
Africa is not just the continent of the future, it's a vital partner for America today. We must engage with African nations as equals, fostering mutual prosperity, security, and progress.
These areas of focus highlight the multifaceted approach Harris might take towards Africa. However, Harris's approach to trade agreements could impact her Africa policy. Her past skepticism of free trade deals might influence how she approaches economic partnerships with African nations.
Harris has expressed concerns about protecting American workers in past trade agreements. This could lead to more carefully negotiated economic partnerships with African countries, potentially with stronger labor and environmental protections.
Such a nuanced approach could redefine U.S.-Africa economic relations.
While much of Harris's potential Africa policy remains speculative, her overall foreign policy approach suggests a continued commitment to global engagement with a possible increased focus on often overlooked regions. As the campaign progresses, we'll be watching closely for more specific policy proposals regarding Africa and other regions. For now, it seems a Harris presidency would likely maintain strong U.S. global involvement, albeit with her own distinct priorities and style. That's all for our special report. Join us tomorrow as we delve into the domestic policy differences between Harris and her Republican opponent, Donald Trump. Good night, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more updates.